Our next guest is our Chula Vista Community Connection. Please welcome back the breakdancing realtor, Anthony Manzon, and also from Team Manzon and the Chula Vista PTA board member, James Iwanski.
All right, welcome to the show, fellas. Woo. How y'all doing?
We're good. We're excited.
Crazy things happening in Chula Vista right now.
Woo. Mm-hmm.
They're changing the school zonings. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is. Super crazy.
That's madness. Now, Anthony, we've had you on the show many times before. You've breakdanced for us on here many times, and we appreciate that. Today, this gets pretty serious, though, when you talk about school zonings, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, are people up in arms or what?
Yeah, I mean, the community, they're not happy about it, obviously. The Chula Vista is broken up into two sections, really, the east side and the west side. West side being a little bit older, schools are a little bit older, while the east side, the newer part of Chula Vista, newer schools, better school ratings. So when people are picking which side of Chula Vista they want to move into, if they want the good schools and it's really important to them, they choose the east side. Now that they're finding out as effective as of July 20th, even if they're on the east side, their school zone's changing. Their kids may be going to the schools on the west side.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how that's going to make some people feel when that time comes down. Of course, you want to bring James on today because he knows a lot about this stuff, right?
Yeah, this guy's the expert.
He's the expert. He's on Team Manzon.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course. In-house. You got an in-house guy here. So, James, what do we need to know about this situation, or what do people need to know who are homeowners in Chula Vista right now that have kids in school and that might be affected by this change?
Okay. If you go to a couple different websites, if you go to Sweetwater and you look at the rezoning maps, it still says proposed. But I did make a call yesterday just to clarify, and it's going forward. There is an online petition right now, many parents up in arms. It's not affecting Chula Vista Elementary School District. It's affecting the middle school and the high school.
Okay, so elementary school is the same.
Elementary school is fine. It's incoming 7th and incoming 9th graders. So those going into middle school, those going into 9th grade. If they have a sibling that's maybe already at that school, they may have to go to this new zoning switch.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. Apparently the talk started September of last year. I'm not too sure how much dialogue was involved with the community. I'm not too sure if the high schools had, forums, but it seems like it came as a shock and surprise. This was released in January. People had, different community outreach. But unfortunately, it is going to take effect this July.
Okay. Now, why would they want to do this? I mean, what's the purpose? How are they selling people on this?
So quickly.
Well, the claim is the schools are getting overrun on the east side. There's just too many students. But when I pulled up the rankings, as of 2015, the only school that has a large population is Eastlake High School. It's just over 3,000. But you take Olympian, which is still pretty close, it's under 2,000. So that could actually accommodate many of the overflow Eastlake High School students and maybe not do this switch.
Is there any potential political reasons for this? I mean, is there any reason that would make sense to mix this whole thing up, like bus routes, or is there anything that makes sense here?
I've looked at it and it doesn't really make too much sense to me. Some of the moves are going to impact the students to go further. Some parents are really upset because they've been paying Mellorues. Extra tax to go to a certain school. They've paid into this school, be it 5 years, 6 years, and now they're not going to get the benefit. They have to go to a different older school.
Yeah.
Anthony, if you're a homeowner, you buy in a neighborhood because it has a certain school, because the schools have been a selling point for Chula Vista for a while now, especially on the Eastlake side, right?
Yeah.
The schools are really, really good, and they go year round, and a lot of people want that and stuff like that. So, it makes it easier when you have a summer. Obviously, you have to watch your kids during the summer, figure out something for them to do. But when the kids go year round, it's a lot easier for people. So people are going down there for the schools, buying homes down there for hundreds of thousands of dollars for the schools, and now all of a sudden somebody says, "Yeah, we're going to change things." I mean, you think there are going to be some angry sellers as a result of this?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's going to affect the community in two ways. There's going to be obviously more angry sellers than there are going to be happy ones. Of course, the people that live in those exclusive school zones, let's say the people that are zoned for Eastlake, because the zoning is a lot smaller now, I anticipate, the demand for that area is going to go up. And, when demand goes up, prices will go up. On the inverse side, when people were zoned for Eastlake at one point, now they have to switch and go to Bonita, which is still a great school, but not as prestigious as Eastlake. those values of those homes, the demand is going to be a lot less. When there's less demand, not going to be as many people looking to buy in that neighborhood.
Which is important to know, not just if you have kids in school. I mean, even if you're retired and you're down there or something like that, you're still going to want to probably know this. Or let's say your kids are already through school, and you haven't retired yet, but you still own a home in the area. It's going to affect the values, and people might not realize why. Like, why is my house worth $50,000 less than the last time I checked? This could be the reason.
Exactly, yeah. It could be the exact reason.
Yeah, and so the effect is taking place in July.
Correct.
July
This upcoming
20th?
school
July
year.
20th.
July 20th, and they're going year round. So at that point in time, there's obviously a start and stop, right? So that's the start of the new year, July 20th. So when they go back to school, then the new zoning takes place. I imagine that we will probably see on the real estate side, we'll probably see that be effective before that, right? A couple months ahead of time.
I think for the people, it's going to be tough because it's such a new topic, and it might not affect the real estate market like just right now because it's so fresh. It's only 2 months away, and it's only been official, for a few months now. Like for the people that know it, it'll affect them because they're not gonna want to purchase in those neighborhoods. But because there's so much demand in Chula Vista and inventory is so low already, people are gonna want to buy in Chula Vista. But when they find out about the new school zones and they're gonna realize that maybe they didn't make the best move into the best neighborhood that they wanted.
Oh man, I just feel bad for people who just bought.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
who recently purchased.
Thinking that they would go to a good school.
Yeah, and that's going to change. So, and you have access, you guys know exactly where all those lines are drawn. So if someone had a question like, hey, where am I in all this, they could figure that out through you guys, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be huge. 'Cause a lot of people are just going to probably hearing it for the first time right now.
Yeah, yeah. One thing that was kind of crazy it brought up, I was door knocking a house, talking to some neighbors, and his kids were maybe elementary school, and he's like, yeah, I love this. I love the school zone, and I'm actually probably going to stay here till they graduate from high school. And then, I just brought up to him, well, did you know about the school zoning change? And he was actually one of the people affected, and he's actually considering moving now just for that one reason, was because his kids aren't going to be able to go to that school.
Listen, it's a reason why people move to places who have kids. I mean, the reason I live where I live right now is because of the school. If that changed, I would not want to live there.
It just seems
that
like
simple.
it's happened so quickly as well, like just a couple of months, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
it.
it was
Do what you need to do,
fast.
guys.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some definitely upset sellers.
Yeah, one thing to note too is that for the kids that are currently in the school right now, like let's say they're going from 9th to 10th grade and they're in the school, they're going to be able, from what we understand, they're going to be able to stay in that school. It's the incoming new students that are going to be affected by it.
Oh, okay. If they're able to stay, then that's huge. If you're able to stay in your school that you've already been going to, that's enormous. But new kids coming in, everything's going to change. So that will at some point that will affect property values.
Yeah. So after those cycle out, like the people, let's say going from 9th to 10th, once those people graduate, it's always now there's like a new fresh start. Now everybody incoming will be affected by it.
Or if someone was just going from elementary to junior high, and they were making the switch that year, it could be a new school, a different school that they're switching to.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, it's still going to affect a lot of people. Imagine me hundreds and hundreds of people that are affected by that.
Yeah, the Chula Vista market is so dependent and so reliant on the schools. It really is. I mean, from the housing market gets so hot in that 1 month time period just because all the schools there are year round, or most of them, I shouldn't say all of them, most of them are year round. So once the kids are out, all the parents want to make their moves as soon as possible because their kids are only on break for about a month.
Yeah, they only have that one little bit of time, this cushion there. James, is there anything else we need to know specifically about the changes that are going to be rolled out here?
Well, I mean, the reason why it's such a big topic is you take, for instance, one little pocket. These students were going to be going to, let's just say, Otay Ranch, which has a great ranking. They're ranked right now 195 in the state.
Wow.
Which is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Going this July, incoming 9th graders will now be going to, let's just say, Castle Park, which I believe was ranked 504 as of 2015. That's a pretty significant change.
Considering you haven't moved anywhere. Considering you haven't done anything.
You haven't done anything. You just live there, and now it's been changed for you.
So are they saying it's the population in the schools that's causing the need for the move?
They're saying the incoming population flux that's going on in Chula Vista Elementary School District is so great that they need to make these changes now so that when they finally do get to middle school and high school, it'll be where they need to be. The numbers will line up.
Wow. I've never heard of anything like this before. Have you guys ever seen anything like this?
No, to be honest, first time I'm experiencing it. So.
I've never seen anything like this, not anywhere in the country. I've seen school zones change. Usually, it's like, okay, well, if we get to a point where a school has too many students, we need to build another school, or whatever it may be. But I think part of the issue could be, Anthony, that in Chula Vista, that East Lake area, that East Chula Vista is so desirable, so much more desirable than the West Side, that it's going to cause this kind of situation to come up where everyone wants to go over here, but now at some point we get to a point where you can't service everybody.
Yeah. And then one thing to consider too is that, the schools are so impacted. A lot of people are trying to get over to the east side. A lot of the times, I shouldn't say a lot of times, sometimes the kids that are going there, they're not necessarily living in that school zone, and they're sometimes using family addresses just to get into that school. So that also increases, the population of that school also.
Yeah, and that happens because it's so desirable.
Yeah, exactly.
People are willing to do whatever it takes, right, to get into those schools, and that can create, a change, a shift in the population, which obviously at some point has to be addressed. I don't know if I love this idea as being the way to address it.
Yeah.
I know in Missouri, I went to the biggest high school in the state of Missouri. We had 3,000 kids
Wow.
In our school, it was the biggest high school in the whole state. And they would add on. They would add trailers. They would do whatever they needed to do to add classrooms, add teachers. They weren't trying to kick anyone out and make them go to the other school that no one wanted to go to.
Yeah.
But it's tough in Southern California. You don't have so much land to do that with. So it's like, what do you do? Is there a better solution that you guys can think of?
Well, other than adding onto the school, which will be, the demand is still there. Like the kids are going to be going in. I don't know if they can build as fast as the demand is there for. I don't know. What do you think, James?
They could have added on another school, but that's years away.
Yeah.
So I wondered, what leads to such a drastic change so quickly, and it seems like overnight, where people really didn't get a chance to voice their opinion.
It seems a little odd too. Like they just kind of randomly chose pockets of places. You know what I mean? Like that's tough for those people who live in those areas. So, guys, thank you so much for coming today and shedding light to this for us, folks. If you are trying to figure out what's going on, I totally get it. This could something that could make your heart skip a beat. Frankly, if you have kids and they're in school and you're not sure where they're going to go, reach out to Team Manzon. They'll tell you exactly what's going on with this, whether you'll be affected by it or not, and create a game plan for you to help take care of things. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.
Like a real estate office or agents to walk in there and go, okay, I want to just stay here and just plug away, and I feel good about working here.
Well, it's funny because the transition in work environments has been happening since Google decided to kind of create an environment of almost like for gamers.